Hey guys, I know it's been a long day. You've had 2 days of just back to back information. And things happen. So I'm so grateful to Mr. Michael Turner for stepping in to be able to handle a session where we had one of the speakers to have to drop out. And so he is going to handle is your money protected, income protection strategies that you need to know. On your agenda, it was under Mr. Camille Ishola, but they are both agents and he's going to share the information. So I want to go ahead and bring him to the virtual stage. Thank you, Mr. Turner, so much for stepping in.
Oh, anytime, Karen.
And so I am going to go ahead and give you the virtual stage.
All righty. So I was told that the topic was going to be about long-term care, and I want to talk a little bit on how you can protect your income or your life savings, for that matter. Long-term care, to me, is one of the life's greatest living benefits that you can actually get standalone or in addition on some life policies now, term and whole and universal life. If you're familiar with those, the index universal life policies, those are actual riders that you can add on now as a living benefit to add extra protection. Um, so let's go into what is long-term care. Um, long-term care is basically, I'm going to break it down here on this slide. There we go. Get my pointer going. Types of long-term care. Basically, you'll need long-term care if you're in a position where you're stuck at home for whatever reason because of the inability to do some things, which I'll get into here in just a second. But you have home-based care. You have center-based care, which is like your adult daycare type of deal. And also when you need to be institutionalized, like in a nursing home or hospital. So those are basically, reasons of, I'm sorry, not reasons, but situations where long-term care would take care of you. Okay. Now, who needs long-term care? Who will need it? 65 people over 65 and over 70% will need some form of long-term care. I know a lot of you thinking I'm not over 65, I'm young, I'm healthy. Keep listening. Of long-term care patients, 40% are under 65%. Hopefully that's none of us. We can get over that 65 and worry about it then. But yeah, us younger people are at risk, and you'll see why here in just a minute. Okay. Now, why do people need long-term care? And here we are. Conditions may be temporary or permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. A lot of people think long-term care is when you just broke down for the rest of your life, but that's not the case necessarily. So conditions can be temporary or permanent. I'm not going to read everything because I understand that we are on a time crunch. So I'm just throwing that out there right now. So for those of you that need more information, the information will be available after the program. Karen will give you all that information. On average, women need long-term care twice as long as men do. I have another slide explaining why. But here's some characteristics right here. Women typically live about 5 years longer than men, based on research, not my research, but based on research that I've been looking at. And it's also mentioned here in this slide here too. So what are the ranges of the services that are provided? Now, given that you are unable to perform any of your daily activities of living, ADLs is what we call them. You may end up rendering these services here, meal preparation, household chores, bathing and dressing, running errands. You know, and it ranges all the way up to skilled care with nursing, occupational therapy, not with your job, but just taking care of yourself, basic needs. The pictures are self-explanatory there, but occupational therapy is one of the bigger uh, services that are used, as well as the nursing and the personal care. What options may help me pay for long-term care? I kind of jumped into this. I didn't put this in any particular order, but if you have the questions, what options do I have? What is this long-term care? How much is it going to cost? I can't get into how much it's going to cost because it's based on an individual situation. So it just depends on where you are. And a lot of these categories kind of sum that up here. Not everything, but it still sums it up here. If you're healthy, active, and still working, some of the best options for long-term care is a long-term care policy, retirement community buy-in, personal income, and savings. Basically, you got time to save. If you're healthy, active, and retired, which means you have less time to save, best options are long-term care insurance. And if you've already had a savings, you can do a one lump or whatever. You can also make payments. Retirement community buy-in, of course, annuities, home equity, trust, and life settlement. Life settlement is basically you cashing out a life policy or something like that, using that cash out money to generate something towards long-term care protection. If you are in poor health, best options for you, is personal income and savings. You can make monthly payments on these types of policies, whether it's an addition to your life insurance policy or a standalone LTC policy. Home equity, accelerated death benefits, which that's basically if you have that option on your life insurance policy, that's basically another form of. Sorry, you may have heard this before about living benefits on your policy, and that's what they mean. And that's how it works. It accelerates your death benefit. So basically, you spend your death benefit while you're living. Isn't that great? And if you're concerned, about protecting your family's asset, you got homes, things, rental homes, all that good stuff. Long-term care insurance is a good option. Annuities, home equity, trust, life settlement. You would want to use all of those things to protect your assets because those are all at risk, and I'll explain here shortly. Okay, so informally, LTC is physically and financially demanding for women. Again, I mentioned it earlier about women living longer than men, but this is how it affects women because you're living longer and possibly in a home by yourself. Nearly half of women over the age of 75 live alone and therefore cannot rely on spousal care. So having an LTC policy will allow you to be able to, provide your self-care in a manner of which you choose. And you can find out more information on how that works. And women also have a greater incidence of depression among women caregivers. Don't know why. I don't have an answer for that. But also women suffer lost wages and benefits result in an average loss of $300,000 for women caregivers. Okay. Medicaid and Medicare are not realistic solutions. I know a lot of you were thinking, well, I could just, have the government take care of me, or I can just, get Medicare or whatever. Well, here's some reasons why. Medicaid must show proof of improvement at time of claim. I'm sorry, impoverishment. Forgive me for that. Misread that word there. You must show proof of impoverishment at the time of the claim. So if you have a house, this is that situation where your assets are at stake, because a lot of you, if you don't know, if you do end up needing some sort of care in this manner, and you have a house, assets, they make you liquidate them. You liquidate your assets. You have to be poor. Assets must be less than $2,000, and it varies by state. 5-year look back on asset to quality. Options for care may be limited. Now we know about that. I mean, one big reason that gets me is the unlimited choices is they choose. If I need home care, they choose who's going to come to my house. And if I don't like the person, I mean, I may feel uncomfortable. I don't know if any of you know anybody that's on Medicaid that get in-home care, and somebody takes them to the doctor. Some of those people aren't choice people you want taking care of you. You kind of question their motives there. But anyway, but Medicare pays a maximum of 100 days of care daily to the copay after 20 days. Also, Medicare begins after third consecutive day in the hospital under treatment. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now: with long-term care, this is on your term. All you need is a doctor's note. You send it in to your long-term care provider. So, I mean, those two right there. I mean, if the reasons there are enough right there to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should consider some long-term care insurance. And you should. So, misconceptions of payment options. So, I threw this in here to add on to the list for Medicare, Medicaid. 64% of participants plan to use Social Security to pay for their LTC, right? The reality of it, Social Security does not explicitly cover long-term care. It doesn't. On the other end, 55% of participants don't know that Affordable Care Act, the Class Act, I'll put it this way. A lot of you go, well, I got good insurance. Health insurance does not cover long-term care expenses. In addition, the Class Act laws was reappealed on January of 2013. Okay. LTC benefit payout options. So I wanted to put this in so you will know the different options when you're out there looking and you're shopping and you're talking to these professionals. Hey, I want to look into some LTC. These are some things you want to look at. There's a reimbursement option. There's an indemnity option, and then there's a cash indemnity option. And these are different options that you want to look at. I'm not going to go into detail, so I don't give you too much information, but reimbursement, you want to know how you're going to get paid. How are you going to get your money from your LTC provider? So make sure you know that. Okay. Now, preparing for long-term care. This is my last slide. You want to prepare. Even if you have some things in place, maybe a savings or thing like that, but you may want to look into calling maybe a local broker or an agent to find out more information. How you can get started is talk to a trusted advisor, get a personalized LTC cost estimate, at least get an idea, consider your coverage options, and consider potential sources of funding options. As we talked about in earlier slides, you can cash out a policy if you have multiple policies, life insurance policies, and you can actually do a 1035 exchange. Sorry, I'm using jargon, but you can actually roll that money over into an LTC policy, or you may want to convert your policy over to something that you can add that protection in. But I'm going to conclude this here, since my last video, my last presentation was a little bit longer. So if you do have any more questions, Aaron,